So we're starting to build the bow pulpit for John's Downeaster 38. This series will take 2 or 3 episodes, so let's get started.
So here's the bow pulpit we're replacing.
So let's get started. Okay, so what I've got here is starting to cut John's bowsprit up, bow pulpit up, and make this bow pulpit that we talked about in the last video. I'm in the shop here. It is a mess. This is the workshop I have at the guest house in Southern Pines. And it is a mess, but it is what it is. So I've got this quarter sawn white oak that I've had for about, I don't know, 10, 12, 13, 14 years. Been sitting here in the shop. I bought it for a particular project that I ended up not using it for. So I thought this would be a great project to use. Quarter sawn white oak is very dense, and because it's quarter sawn, it's very stable. Once we get it made, get it sealed with a penetrating epoxy, it'd be a great bow pulpit. So what I'm gonna do is cut all these pieces down that I have over here, down to about 66 inches. And that's what I measured out. And then I'm gonna rip them down and then glue them up. And that'll be the start of the project.
Whispers of goodbye, our hearts alone. Underneath the stars, when memories reside, a loved one's vibrant now takes its stride. Sailing on the sea of separation, a bittersweet journey of soul liberation. Promises going away so blue.
All right, so what I need to do now is, this wood is at different thicknesses. Some of it's 8/4, some of it's 9/4, which is 2 inches, 2 1/4 inches, 2 1/8. It's not consistent in the width. So the best way for me to, now if I had all my old shop equipment that I sold off, like a helical planer, things like that, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd run it through a planer now and get every piece exactly the same size. But since I no longer have that planer in my workshop, or I never had it in this particular work, yeah, maybe I did. Well, anyway, so since I don't have that planer any longer, what I have to do now is cut this material down to size and then glue it up. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do now with the table saw. And so you gotta make a decision. And that's how come the shop is in such a damn mess, because I'm just constantly throwing things off.
Sail the sea, let's drift away. Find a treasure in the waves today. Ocean whispers calling us near. In this adventure we'll have no fear. Oh, sailing away on the blue. With the wind we'll start anew.
What I don't want is the blade to stick up too high. Okay. What I need is a board straightener. Damn shoes untied. And I don't have one here. Let's kick the breaker. That sucked. So I'm gonna have to get a board straightener. I gotta straighten the board out. I've got to straighten get my board straightener out of the storage. because it's going to bind the blade and cause it to bind, and cause it to bind.
When I originally tried to cut these boards, they're just too crooked. So I'm gonna have to use something called a board straightener, which is just a board with clamps on it that's straight on one side, and so I can clamp the crooked end against the fence here, and then it will, when I run it through the table saw, it will make a straight cut. So that's just what I'm gonna have to do. All right, so I have the board straightener fixed up.
One side is fairly straight.
Another one up here.
And what you typically want to do is put the bow against the board, against the straightener. Yeah, like so. So you typically want to put the bow against it so it hits on both ends. Alright, so you see the general idea of getting usually you want to have two people doing this because it's a little easier, particularly but you can see how straight that board is now. So now I can stick that board against the fence and cut it straight. That was the idea behind straightening the boards out. Okay, so I've got a few more to do, and we'll get back to it here shortly. As you can see, my grandson Robert is helping me with these larger pieces with the board straightener so that we can get a nice straight side. One thing that you don't want to do is rush this. Just take your time. Yes, the saw you'll get some saw burn on the sides, but that's going to sand out if it needs to be. Okay, so now we're going to start ripping the material down. That's what you're seeing here. We're just ripping it down to different sizes to be able to glue it up. This actually makes it more stable to cut it into smaller pieces and gluing it up, so there's less chance of expansion and contraction due to moisture. That's why you see stair treads are never a solid piece. They're always 3 or 4 pieces glued together. Okay, so what we're doing now is actually raising the blade to dimension the lumber to size as far as thickness. So we've raised the blade up, got it up higher than we need on these smaller pieces. But as we come to some of the larger pieces that you see now, this is how we get all the material about the same size. So when we glue it up, we have minimal sanding we have to do. One thing you should notice is that I always use a push stick. I never get my hands near the saw blade. That's my one safety tip. Of all the years I've been in the woodworking business, I've never cut myself.
Okay. So what I'm trying to decide now is how to glue these up. And I think what I'm going to do is actually, because the design, which is, oh, damn it, that hurt. The design calls for some spacing to be in between some of the pieces. Alrighty, so I think I need to size a couple of these. So I think 1 3/4 inches is too much space in between here. I think I need less space in between there. Need about 1 inch in there. What do y'all think? You think 1 inch? You think 1 inch is probably enough space in there? If I stick 1 inch in there, and 1 inch in there, yay. That's 1 inch. That's not wide enough. So, I think I need to stick another piece in the middle. Well, that right there is 23. And that's 25. I think that's what I'll do. Stick another piece in the middle. Just slide these over here. I think I'll stick this wider piece here in the middle. And that'll be the center. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Okay, so I need to glue these 3 pieces up together to start with. And then rip some board down to 1 inch. Set this at 1 inch. Okay, that's good. Let's get a desk screen over my face. Got enough of glasses someplace. And let's get these ripped down. Okay. So that's a bad side. So let's rip on this side here. Alrighty. So that's ripped down. So let's see. 1 inch. That wood needs to be turned upside down so I can use the other side. That's got a bow in it. Oh yes, that's what we're cutting off. That's what we're cutting off anyway. This is what I got to glue up. This is what I got to glue up. But what will happen is when I glue up, I'm going to cut some of these out to leave my spacing for drainage out. And then I'm going to glue it up and then cut the size out, you know, how it's supposed to fit. So we got to get my measurements down and see exactly how we're going to do this. But so in other words, there'll be spaces in between here. In here, there'll be spaces in here. I'll probably put 3 spaces in here on either side. The overall size is 24 at one end, 18 at the pulpit. It's 24 on the deck, 18 inches at the pulpit at the end is going to be the width. So what we'll do is I'll figure out what's, like I said, it's going to be 18 here. That's the reason I can cut this piece right here off. I can cut that little piece out. And so we'll get them all cut up, and then we'll start gluing them up. Okay? Now, it's what time is it? Oh, my watch died. Oh, it's 10 o'clock at night on Thursday night. So I think I'm gonna go up and get a shower. Got dust on me. I've been doing some other stuff today as well. Doing some stuff at the ex-wife's house, building a wall for her theater room. Got to do something to earn some extra money, even if it is taking money from the ex-wife. It is what it is. All right, see y'all shortly. So we're getting ready to start gluing up this wood for the bow pulpit. What I'm gonna do first is glue up these 3 pieces here. My centerpiece. I'm gonna glue these up first, and then we'll let those set up for a little bit, and then we'll glue the outsides in, get that straight. Using Gorilla Glue. It's a polyurethane glue that works great, waterproof. So with polyurethane glue, Gorilla Glue, you have to, sorry, I couldn't find that thing. So you have to wet the wood first so it opens up the pores. So when you open up the pores of the wood, it takes the glue a little better. So what I actually use is bar clamps. So what I'm gonna do first is go ahead and, while that's drying, get some bar clamps together. Oh yeah, here's what I want. Be enough. All the same size. Let's get the bottom one set up.
said, it's so chilly in the shop this morning. I know I'm dressed funny, but I just grabbed clothes. It'll be warmer later today. Now, one of the keys to making a really good glue joint, one that's going to last, is making sure you don't get that you have just a thin layer of adhesive on the wood. You want to make sure that the adhesive is, you're pushing it down into the wood well, because you don't want the excess adhesive between the wood grain.
As the sun sets on this chapter of our song, reggae beats remind me life goes on. Through the melody I find my way, in the echoes of farewell, a brighter day. It's sailing on the sea of separation, a bittersweet journey, a soul's liberation, promises echoing the way so blue. Farewell my love, it's time to start anew.
Now this is about 5 inches longer than it needs to be, because I'll cut the ends off. That's how come I'm not concerned about whether they're even or not. But you can see the polyurethane starting to react to the moisture in the air. Whoops. React to the moisture in the air, starting to foam up. Usually I'll let stuff sit for 24 hours, but because I'm doing several glue ups, I'll let this sit for 3 or 4 hours. I wouldn't, and then I'll take it apart and start gluing the other parts on. It's not something I would use right away. So that's the reason I'm not as concerned about that it's not properly cured. So that's the center board of the bow pulpit, which is going to be sitting on top of a aluminum tube on John's boat. So there we are. All right, so that's glued up. Give it a few hours, and then we'll start gluing the other parts in.
So this is all, that middle piece I glued up is done. I rough sanded it down. So now what I've got to do is set this up for the spacings, to cut the gaps out and things of that nature. To cut the places for the water to drain out, and then get it glued up. Okay, so let's get started with that. Okay, so first thing I'll do is just start drawing lines across it, making sure I'm kind of squared up here. Okay, I know everything may not be in camera, but will be in a second. That's not there, so 10 inches there, that's right. That should be 10 inches from there, and that's wrong. Okay, that's right. That's the reason you do this, is to visualize this. There's my line right there. I'm on the wrong side of the line. Okay, so that's why you do this.
I'm a sailor in the storm, navigating through the pain, searching for peace in these waters that drive me insane. But I'll keep on sailing through the long and lonely night, hoping to find peace in the morning light.
Okay, so what what we're representing here is these marks here are going to be open. And the reason these gaps are 1 inch. And the reason that I went with 1 inch is it's hard to get your big toe caught in that. Most people's big toes are bigger than an inch, or you're going to catch the side of it. If you went wider, it's a little easier if you're barefooted to accidentally get your toe caught in that and go overboard. So what we'll do next is we see where this tape is. This is what gets cut out. Okay? So these 4 areas, there'll be 4 gaps on the pulpit that allow water to go through, expose it to the water. So we'll get these cut, get this glued up, and you'll see some of this in a midweek video. This video has run long enough as it is. So what we'll do short videos midweek, and then we'll have a long videos on the weekend. So I'll upload the next video on Friday night, so you'll have it early Saturday morning. I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. I really want to thank the people who have commented. That gives me a great deal of pleasure to respond to the comments. Some of the comments have been very funny, and I enjoy it. Thank you for the thumbs up. So do me a favor, hit that like button, give it a thumbs up. I guess that's the same thing. But comment, and if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. I'm really surprised by the channel growth. I hope my videos you're finding something interesting and funny in them, plus whatever else you're looking for. Hope they are entertaining nonetheless. So I'll see you on the next video. For all you guys who have watched the video to the very end, thank you. And for those of you who did not watch it to the end, well, hope you have a great night's sleep. Hope you get up in the morning and your coffee maker doesn't work. See ya.